You're watching the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, and I'm your host, Jean-Paul Leek, and this is Ropebreak. Everybody, it is Tuesday morning, so you know what that means. It's time to sit down right here with Jean-Paul, because we're going in Raw for the Monday Night Raw review. And this Raw actually, was a fallout show from Extreme Rules, which we had the review on the channel. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, I don't know what the hell you're doing. But if you want to experience a horror show in July, normally it's Christmas in July, but this time we get Halloween in July, check out our review of the horror show, because that's indeed what it was, with our special friend and new member of the Ropebreak channel, Ryan Whitman. So guys, please check that out. Give it a thumbs up, comment if you like it. And we also crowned the first official Ropebreak champion, Juan. He had the pay-per-view predictions correct. So, please show your support in the comments for him as well, for being the inaugural champion. But let's get into the review. And like I said, the show really wasn't that bad. It's 3 hours. 3 hours is always a chore to get through, but with the matches being long, there wasn't really that many short matches besides, one of the women's matches was really short. Actually, I think it was the only women's match was really short, but all the other matches were, no, I lied. There was 2 women's matches, but it was really, long matches, which helped the show go by really quick. But enough of that. Let's get into it. So Seth Rollins, he kicked off Monday Night Raw. So, of course, he comes out to a chorus of boos. They're chanting at him, shame, shame. And Rollins pretty much says, he has a good promo here. He pretty much says that this is all the fans' fault. He's like, you guys wanted me to change. You wanted something different. And I'm giving it to you, which, it's kind of like blurring the lines of him, being, just a character and also shooting, because the fans wanted him to turn heel because they couldn't stand his babyface run. They're like, turn heel. So he turns heel and then they boo him. So it's kind of blurring those 2 lines, which, it was cool. So, and he says that everything he did to Rey Mysterio, he's going to remember that for the rest of his life. But, he's doesn't want to be made a monster out of. He's sick of this from the fans. And like I said, he keeps going on and on. They keep chanting shame, shame. And then eventually commentary is like, oh, who's going to stop Rollins? Blah, 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 this and that. And then Aleister Black comes out. So then this, to me, I thought was good. Like I said, the promo was good. Aleister Black is the next logical step to go against Seth Rollins, because we've seen him feud with Kevin Owens. Mysterio's done. We don't really want to see Humberto. And unless Dominic would be ready, which clearly he isn't, Aleister Black is the next logical step. So he comes out. Him and Murphy start fighting. Unfortunately, our boy Buddy Murphy is again a jobber, because he kicks the shit out of him. And then Rollins kind of retreats, and it's like, oh, shit. But then we find out this match was scheduled as we go to commercial. So when we come back, this match, is right underway. This isn't the first time we've seen these 2 guys wrestle. This match was really good, though. Like I said, between this segment, the opening segment, and this match, it almost went to the 9 o'clock hour. So almost a full hour between these first 2 segments. So that I really appreciate. It's not just like rapid fire segments where, you can't even pay attention to what's going on. But like I said, this thing was good. Seth Rollins just pretty much worked over Aleister Black's, injured arm. That was the whole story of this thing. The arm. Anytime Aleister Black went to throw a punch, he was hurt. He's like, but he kept, like they said, instinct. You're going to punch even though your arm is hurt, which, I guess it makes sense, because I think he might have had surgery or torn something, but Aleister Black's strength is in his legs, so he really shouldn't be throwing that many punches anyway. But, regardless, this match was very good. And in the end of this thing, Rollins hits the stomp for the 1, 2, 3, and he gets the win. The right choice. Aleister Black, he needs to look strong in this feud, but also Rollins needs to continue his run and look strong as well, because clearly this is just the beginning of the feud for these 2, not the end of the thing. So then, of course, after the match, Rollins and Murphy, they start beating him down, sending him into the barricade, and then they use the ring post and then the announce table, and they keep injuring his arm even more. And then they leave him lying as a group of officials come out. So like I said, they beat him down. They hurt him. There's probably going to be some kind of retaliation next week. So good segment there. And then moving on, then we see backstage Ron Simmons. He was talking to MVP Lashley, the Hurt Business, just kind of, talking to him a little bit. And then we see R-Truth. He comes up, and he has a frying pan. He's defending himself, and then they're like, hey, you want to be a part of the Hurt business with us? We're all a bunch of champions. I'm 24/7 champ, or I'm the U.S. champ. You're the 24/7 champ, this and that. And he's like, no, I don't want to play your games. I don't want to be put in the Simpsons Nelson lock. And then he's like, it's a full Nelson lock. Like, what are you being bullshit for, this and that? Shelton Benjamin comes out of nowhere. He takes out Truth. 1, 2, 3. He becomes a new 24/7 champ. So out of nowhere, Shelton Benjamin, hey, he wins his first championship in how many years? And that's what it is. So, I mean, good for him, I guess. But then, of course, the Hurt Business, MVP, and Lashley, they're like, hey, they pretty much say the same thing they said to R-Truth to Shelton Benjamin. Like, you want to join us? And he's like, yeah, why not? So then they go out to the ring next. And then they're, of course, just, making fun of Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and they're, burying Apollo Crews because he wasn't, he's hurt. He couldn't make the show. So I'm the United States champion and this and that. But in reality, and we shared it on the Facebook page and other social media outlets as well, that Apollo Crews actually tested positive for COVID-19. I'm not sure exactly when his test date was and if he was feeling ill before that or anything. So I don't know how many weeks he's going to be out, but it seems that he's doing okay. I haven't heard that, any of these people from WWE who got it were, in any serious condition, which is always good. So that was the story there on why he wasn't able to make the pay-per-view. So, of course, his boys, Ricochet and Cedric, they come out to defend him. And, they're like, well, it's 3 of you or 3 of us versus the 2 of you. Like, what the hell are you punks going to do? And then, the faces, Ricochet, Cedric, they were like, no, we didn't come alone. They're like, we brought somebody, and he's making his Monday Night Raw debut. Boom, Mustafa Ali comes. Well, I think they actually say his name, but Mustafa Ali comes out. And quick thing I want to say, I guess the hacker storyline is dead. I don't know if it was, officially confirmed if he was the hacker, but I mean, there was the symbolism there with the circle made of the dots, his logo and everything. So it was probably him. I don't think they really had an idea where that storyline was going because that was mostly for Otis and Ziggler. And then they sent, Ziggler to Monday Night Raw. So they're like, hey, whatever. So he comes out. I mean, it was cool. I'm a big fan of his, but unfortunately, like I said, he didn't have much build. Like the most Ali was legit was when he had that stuff going on with Daniel Bryan. And then, he got hurt going into the Elimination Chamber. And since then he's been non-existent. So this right here, it would have been a pop for the fans, but even if they're, the average person doesn't know who Ali is. So it's a shame there. But anyway, this match was really good. It was a 6-man tag. Lashley looked dominant. Shelton Benjamin looked good. Of course, Cedric and Ricochet, they did a lot of the jobbing in here. It wasn't until the very end when Ali came in, and he, really shined, which was good. Like, you got to get him over. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of the other two, but also you got to get Bobby Lashley over. That's the thing in 6-man. There's going to be a lot of guys who don't look good. You just hope that maybe in the next week or so, they get theirs so they're not necessarily buried. But like I said, the end of this thing, Ali, he was able to hit the 450 splash on MVP. So you think, the champion's getting pinned, but he's not really the champion. He's a self-crowned champion. When Apollo comes back, they're going to have the match, which Apollo is most likely going to win. And, so to me, it doesn't really hurt MVP getting pinned here. But like I said, the inverted 450 by Ali for the win. So, it was a really good match, but we'll see where they go. Then we get Randy Orton. He's backstage, and he said that he's lost a lot of friends in this business. The legend killer, blah, 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 this and that, evolution, he lost them, all this stuff going on and on. And he said tonight he's going to end the Big Show's career. So good stuff there by Orton. And, I was actually intrigued and excited for this match in the sense that I like the story. Not that the match itself would be good, but the story of the legend killer with Randy Orton is probably one of the best things on Monday Night Raw. So then after the break, we see Ron Simmons. He was busy tonight. He must have been in the area or something. I don't know. But he was hanging out with the Viking Raiders, talking to them. And, all right, like I said, the shame with the tag team division is that there's only 3 teams, 4 teams maybe in this thing. And, how deep of a division is that? Not very. And how exciting can you make these matchups? After a while, all three of these teams will have feuded and it will just be boring. So really anything with the tag teams at this point, I'm just not invested in. I'm sorry. The only one I am is Andrade and Garza because they kind of hate each other. So there's a potential for a split and a feud, which imagine if they split them up, then you have two tag teams in the division. Amazing. So anyway, Raw, I didn't even see this until right when the show started, but apparently they were advertising Christian was going to be on the show. And of course, when they advertise somebody's going to be on the show and it's pre-taped and it's all this other garbage, it's just going to be a Zoom call, Skype call, whatever. So that's what it was. He just gave an update. He was talking with Samoa Joe, gave an update about his medical condition. Says he's still in pain, but he's recovering. He's all good. He's not done. Like when he took that, punt kick, he was pretty much laying there done on the mat. No, he's good. And he said that Big Show he thinks will be able to overcome Randy Orton and Ric Flair's dirty tricks. Ric Flair wasn't there tonight, but it was just, will he'll be able to overcome Randy Orton's dirty tricks? And will he? No, Christian. It'll just be like you when you said, oh, you'll defend Edge. No, you won't. But I mean, it's always cool to see Christian, but it is what it is there. So then we get Bianca Belair. She's backstage, and she's being interviewed, I'm the strongest, the toughest, running through that whole spiel again. And she's like, last week I was the nicest, and I helped out, Ruby, and this and that. And then Peyton comes up, and she's like, okay, Sarah, get out of here. This is the longest interview. I'm so sick of hearing this bitch talk. Like, just get out of here. So then her and Bianca start going at it. And then Ruby shows up, and then Ruby's like, oh, didn't we beat you last week? This and that. And she's like, oh, what are you talking for? Like, we beat you all these other weeks, talking all this stuff. She's like, where even is your partner? And she's like, oh, she has business to take care of in, I don't even remember what she said, some stupid comment. But, I hope Billie Kay just couldn't make the show for some reason. I hope she's not one who's also sick or something, because with her and Peyton Royce hanging out as much as they do, I'm sure if Billy got sick, Peyton's sick. And then, you know what I mean? So it's just a lot of, the virus can move quickly if that is the case. So I hope it isn't. I hope Billie Kay just couldn't make it for some unknown reason. But, hopefully we'll find out why. But then, of course, we get a match between Ruby Riott and Peyton Royce. And this is the one I was talking. This thing was really quick. Ruby started off hot, and then Peyton got a little bit, more offense. But eventually Ruby was able to hit the Riott kick. 1, 2, 3. So then Ruby wins. So this I like because Ruby needed the win. She looked kind of like shit, losing to both the Iconics. And Bianca comes in, boom, boom, boom. They win. Her and Bianca start to look good now. So we'll see where they go here with Ruby. Like I said, it's just all over the place. Because then, we saw Shayna Baszler later on tonight. So I feel like the women's division is just all over the place, especially when you have the Raw Women's Champion is a member of SmackDown. So WWE booking for you. Anyway, then we get Angel Garza and Andrade. They're talking backstage how they're going to be the next tag team champ because, like I said, there's only 3 teams in the division, so they got a 1 out of 3 chance. So that's pretty good. And then, of course, Charlie Caruso is interviewing them, and she's all drooling over Garza. And then Garza, Andrade and Zelina are actually talking legit stuff. And the Garza's like, so when we win the titles, we will be like, and he's all like flirting and all this like long drawn out bullshit. It's like, oh my God, okay, we get it, dude. You're cheating on your fiance from NXT, which I feel like I'm the only one who keeps bringing up when he proposed to this woman and now he flirts with every other woman. But then boom, the Street Profits save this thing because they come out of nowhere and start beating them up. And then this ends the segment. So this, is obviously leaning on, for things to come. So then we get the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. And this match was really good as well. Montez Ford is a legit wrestler. He has the energy, the athleticism. He's like Eddie Guerrero fused with the Ultimate Warrior. So like the way he's like, freaks out in his energy, but he's also really athletic and, really talented. Angel Garza and Andrade, I can't say enough good stuff about them in the ring. So this thing was really good. But of course you got to keep the dissension between the heel team and, you want to make your Raw Tag Team Champions look good. So Ford, at the end of this thing, he was able to come in, make the hot tag, and then he hits the frog splash. I think it's from the heavens. I think it's called something from the heavens. So boom, he hits a huge frog splash. He actually jumps and then he turns mid-air and like lands on him on a Garza. So this thing was I think he pinned Garza. Anyway, but he hit him from the heavens, the frog splash, 1, 2, 3. The Street Profits look good in this thing, which, like I said, I like the heel team. They're my favorite team, and they're two singles guys, but that's just how WWE is presenting the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders at this point. But, of course, the main story there is the split. So, they're not going to give these guys too many meaningful wins. So then, of course, backstage, we see them. They're all pissed off, blah, blah, blah. And it's, of course, Zelina's trying to get them on the same page. We've only seen Zelina trying to do that for the past how many weeks, months. It feels like I don't think it's going to work. So then we see Bayley and Sasha. They come out, and, Sasha, she's so adamant. She's like about calling herself, oh, I'm Banks 2 belts. I'm the Raw Women's Champ, all this other shit. So they're in the ring. Bayley is hyping her up. It's good stuff. And then Asuka, she comes out and she's like, Sasha wasn't ready for Asuka. And she's like, Asuka wasn't ready for a thief. And I like that line. Obviously, Asuka's English, especially when she's yelling, is very broken. But I like that. Like, Sasha, you couldn't handle me. You couldn't beat me. So you had to be a thief to do it. And it's like, you did blow the mist in the ref's face. That's, which Sasha did say. She's like, oh, that poor defenseless ref. He's almost blind. They were playing it up and this and that. So, of course, they start, jaw-jacking and going back and forth. And this just proves, without a shadow of a doubt, no. But, finally, WWE, they did something smart. I was going to say that this proves they listen to Ropebreak, which, I mean, they might. But we've been saying there needs to be some law and order in this, outlaw show called Monday Night Raw, because there's no general manager. There's nobody leading the charge here. I can't even talk. Stephanie McMahon pops up on the Titantron. She's like, whoa. She's like, this bullshit is going crazy. Banks, you did not pin Asuka, clearly. Or you pinned her, but it was, the count was bullshit. Bayley, you're not a ref. And, we're going to settle this. We're going to have it, a definitive champion. So next week is going to be Asuka versus Sasha for the Raw Women's Championship. And the title will change hands if there's interference on any person's side. The count out will change hands. Pretty much so, like, there's no champion's advantage. Whoever wins the belt, pretty much. So that I like. And with that being said, I guess we'll kind of go into a spoiler next. Bayley and Kairi Sane had a match. And, there's reports that this was Kairi Sane's maybe last Monday Night Raw, or she had her last taping. It was a little confusing. She might be on next Raw. I'm not sure. She might be on this final one where Asuka hopefully regains her championship. But if she isn't, and this was her farewell, then this rule mostly helps Asuka and, is against Sasha, because Sasha will probably be the only one with someone in her corner for Bayley. So, like I said, this leads to Bayley versus Kairi Sane. And this match was really good. Bayley, she dominated this thing a lot. Of course, she's a SmackDown Women's Champion. And Kairi Sane, she sold really well. But Kairi Sane also, this reminded me of like NXT Kairi Sane, in the sense where she was, she's beat down, but she never gives up and she hits all the moves. It was legit. She hit the elbow, but, Bayley, of course, when she got hit, she rolled over a little bit and Kairi sold an injury. So by the time she was able to crawl to Bayley, Bayley was able to get her foot on the ropes. And it was just a really legit match. And it told that story. And it's a shame because Kairi Sane's only really being portrayed in this legit way for the past, 2-3 weeks. And it's like, what were you doing for how many months that you had her on here? But then Sane countered the Bayley to belly at the end of this thing. And she was able to roll up the champ 1, 2, 3. So she, pinned the SmackDown Women's Champion. Of course, it was non-title match and everything. But it was a great win for Kairi Sane. And I don't mind it because, like I said, Bayley, no business being on Monday Night Raw in the first place. And it doesn't hurt Bayley's stock because she had, despite what a lot of people say, she's had a legit title run. This was over a year. And she's beaten a lot of women, pretty much everyone who's put in her path, whether she, had to lie, cheat, or steal, she was able to beat them. So this win here, it doesn't hurt. And I think it just adds more fuel to the fire. because I think, you know, when we see this match next week for the belt, I think Bayley will get involved, and then Sasha will be like, oh, you're jealous. You wanted to be the only woman with 2 belts, this and that. And it will kind of, you know, go into their feud, which eventually happens. But like I said, this match with Kyrie and Bayley was legit stuff to see Kyrie Sane get the win. So then moving on, then we get Drew McIntyre. He's backstage, and he's headed to the ring next to, you know, pretty much address the match that happened last night at Extreme Rules. So when he comes out, you know, of course he says all that stuff. Oh, you know, it was a hell of a fight. You know, the bullshit stipulation, I was able to overcome it. You know, I'm legit, blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. And then Ziggler, he comes out, and then he said that Drew was afraid of him. And then he went, you know, and then pretty much Ziggler saying the same shit like he did with Kofi. You know, after he lost to Kofi, it was the next couple of weeks just saying, oh, you know, give me another chance because, you know, 2 out of 3, you know, come on, like that was crappy. Like I deserve another shot. You know, I wasn't actually trying, you know, just all the excuses under the book. And Drew's like, dude, like, I think he even said like bugger off, you know, because he's like Scottish, or he's like, bugger off, mate. Like, get out of here. I'm so sick of this bullshit. Like, you're, you know, which we all are, like Ziggler. We even said, Ryan said it, I said it, Juan said it. He's so legit, but the, you know, the crap they give him, sometimes it's hard to make shit into shoe polish, you know. And Ziggler, he tries, but Dolph, you know, he kept going on, and then you know what? Drew was like, listen, you want another match? Fine. But this time, I'm going to pick the stipulation. And then, you know, Ziggler, I think he actually, Drew headbutted him or something, and then he walked out of the ring, and then he's like, but, you know, I'll do the same thing you did. I'm going to tell you before the match. So now, but I don't even know if this is for the title. They said a rematch, but then they weren't really saying, oh, this is for the title. I assume it is, and like I said, I don't see Dolph Ziggler winning the title. I think they're going to do what I said in the previous predictions. Randy Orton's going to come out. He's going to maybe RKO Dolph Ziggler in this thing. Because, again, Ziggler, I think he was running over his resume again, how he was legit, been here so long, you know, this and that. So he's technically, like I said, a legend. So I could see them doing something like that with him eating an RKO. And then that will kind of start the feud between McIntyre and Randy Orton. So then we see Big Show. He's backstage, and he said that he realizes the risks of facing Randy Orton. You know, the legend killer. He has Ric Flair, you know, backing him. And he's like, I don't know if these are the voices in your head, Randy, that are making you awaken as the legend killer, or if it's Ric Flair pushing you. I don't know what it is. You know, we traveled the road together. You know, we were the best of friends because you were trying to live up to your family name, and I was trying to live up to the moniker of being a giant. And, you know, we bonded over that. He's like, but now you've taken out a lot of my friends, and he's like, I know how to take you out, even though there's a boot, you know, that has a punt kick on it, you know, signed Big Show, but, you know, I'm not going to let that happen. So emotional promo by Big Show in the sense where he's like, this might be the end for me and this and that. So again, setting up, you know, obviously he's going to lose here. Big Show wasn't going to win, but it's a good thing to set up and really get that like heat for Randy Orton in the sense where it's like, you almost fear him versus like, boo, you suck. Like, because it's like he took out Edge, took out Edge twice, took out Christian, took out the Big Show. You know, he's taking out all these guys. So good stuff there by the Big Show. So then we get into this match, and this, of course, was the unsanctioned match. That's how Randy Orton does it, so he can really, you know, massacre these guys. And this thing was good. It was good in the sense for what it was. Big Show, he sold a lot. Like, he took this drop kick to the knee, and, I mean, he flipped, and I don't think I ever saw Andre flip like that, especially at the end of his career. So people want to talk shit on the Big Show. Hey, the guy's staying in hell of a shape for how old he is and how long of a career he's had. So the match was good. Big Show also looked good. He countered an RKO, and he kicked out of an RKO. So to me, that popped me just for the sense it's like, hey, they're doing this guy justice. He doesn't just eat one finisher and done. We saw Andrade, Angel Garza. They came out. They started beating him up because they kind of have a little thing. They're all third generation, like Randy Orton. They have a little stable going on. So they started beating up the Big Show, of course, unsanctioned, no DQ. The Viking Raiders, they come out. They even the odds. And then that kind of led into a commercial. And like I said, the kicking out of the RKO, all this legit stuff. Randy kicked out of the choke slam. But in the end of this thing, how did you think this was going to end? Eventually, Randy Orton, he hit another RKO, and then he hit, 1, 2, 3. He hits the punt kick, and pretty much another legend, is scratched off the list for the Monday Night Raw Superstars. And that's how the show went off the air. So like I said, the Raw itself, it really wasn't bad. You take a couple segments away, like every week you get a decent show. And I said in the beginning, it's always a chore to sit through 3 hours, but with the long matches, I felt that it helped, the show move on quicker. If that's possible, 3 hours is 3 hours no matter what, but it made it feel a little faster. But I'm excited for the build for SummerSlam. Like I said, or like we said in the Extreme Rules review, August 23rd, they officially started showing stuff for SummerSlam. Not that they would cancel it, but now that we know, the build is real, the hype is real. So I'm excited for it. Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, I don't know if that's still the plans because, there's rumors all over the place. But the best thing about it is we just got to keep watching every week and wait and see. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. And please, if you haven't already, like I said, check out Extreme Rules previews and predictions. It's not just me. It's not just Juan. It is me, Juan, and Ryan, the legend killer. And we gave that to him before this current storyline. So don't just say we're trying to stay relevant. Whitman. And, it's a great, great review. We have a lot of fun. And also check out, previews and predictions just because we have fun in that too. If you want to see, guys talk about wrestling, having fun, because a lot of people nowadays, they talk about wrestling. It seems like they don't have fun. We here on Ropebreak, we always like to have fun. And of course, check out the reviews for SmackDown, NXT, AEW, and all that if you haven't. And stay tuned this week because we're going to have them as well. And follow us on all the social medias, Facebook and Instagram, The Original Ropebreak, Twitter, The OG Ropebreak, and right here on YouTube for the best podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, The Original Ropebreak. Guys, thank you so very much for watching. And like I said, we will see you next time for AEW Dynamite Review.